Good morning, Heidi Foy with Foy Real Estate. Hey, you guys. So we are here for Q&A Thursday, where we talk about real estate, remodels, or anything remotely close, which that pretty much leaves us a very wide topic to talk about. But today we're going to talk about, we're going to have a special guest, Marty Hansen, who is an appraiser in our community. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. All right, here we are. Thank you guys for tuning in. So Marty, thank you for joining me. I feel like we've been playing phone tag for months.
We have.
That's all right.
Busy.
It is busy. It's ridiculously busy. So here, time out. Something really important here. I got some chapstick.
All right. I got a mustache. I got that all covered.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. We talked a little bit yesterday kind of about what we were going to talk about. I think people get real nervous when they don't know what's going to happen. And I'm kind of a shoot from the hip on these live videos. So
shoot away.
It makes people nervous, which
no worries.
They
no
should
worries.
be.
So well, Heidi.
I know. I know. I'm not very smooth, Marty.
You're fine. You're fine.
So let's talk about the market. The market has been, how long have you been doing appraisals?
Appraisals?
Yes.
This time, 18 years.
18 years. This time. So was there another time?
Yeah, I've been in real estate for 34 years. And
okay.
Back in the late 80s, we could do appraisals without being licensed, and then the government changed all that. So I switched to what you do, sales, and then came back to appraising.
Okay. So then I'm going to ask you this question. Have you ever seen a market like this?
Mm-hmm. It has happened before. 06 was kind of odd like this. COVID, no. With the pandemic, no, I've never seen anything like that. I've seen the rates drop, not as much as they are now, but yeah, peaks and valleys. We're a peak and valley market for sure. So I've seen it, different levels, different things, but yeah, definitely have seen it before.
So we talked yesterday about how the market kind of levels out. And I think right now, historically, or not historically, but we're seeing kind of higher home values and higher home prices. So I think as agents, we're looking at what has sold in the past and putting prices on properties, looking at what is listed right now to price properties.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about what does it look like when the market starts to level out, and how does that happen? How quickly does that happen? And what's your experience with that?
Well, it just depends on, of course, inventory. There's not a lot of inventory. So right now the demand is high. But as those listings become more and more and more, you'll start seeing that level. Where that point is that 200 listings, 300 listings, where there's a level spot. It just depends on that particular market time. It transitions from being on the house has been on the market for 1 or 2 days or on before listed to a couple of weeks. A normal market, I think 30 days would be a level market to you guys. So once you start getting there, they start to level out. Right now we probably have more buyers than sellers, I'm assuming, which you guys have. So once that starts to balance a little bit there, you'll start to see that leveling out as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned something, just to put it in perspective for anybody that's watching, he mentioned something about 200 to 300 homes on the market. Right now, there's about 70 active listings. So listings that are not currently under contract. So that's a pretty big difference in what we're looking at now versus, I guess, a little bit more healthy, balanced market.
And most of those, that's everything, right? So that's from a manufactured home that might be less than 20 grand on up to a house that's probably over $1 million. That's probably everything. So
everything.
Right. So.
Yeah. So I think last time I looked, which I thought was kind of strange, there were 8 plus properties listed over $1 million, which is usually a little bit smaller inventory, but it seems like it's pretty big right now. So that's kind of interesting to see how those are going to move. So Marty, listen, when you're in real estate, you know this, the most asked question when you're in real estate, when you sell real estate is, how's the real estate market? So I would say on your side, the most asked question is probably, what can I do to increase the value of my home?
Right.
How do you even answer that?
Just we base our appraisals on quality and condition. So a lot of that is cleanliness. If there's a room that needs painted, just kind of a spruce up, if you will, your house. Obviously, a person doesn't want to spend thousands of dollars just to sell their house, and they don't net hardly anything. Just cleanliness. Make sure the paint's good. If you need to do an allowance for upgrades or whatever, look at that. Houses in our world, houses are sorry, things are coming up on the screen. Bedrooms, baths, square footage. But again, a lot of it just comes down to condition and keeping the house in good condition.
So one of the conversations, in fact, that I just had right before we started this was talking about when we go through the objection phase for our buyers. And what that means, you guys, is that once you get under contract, you have an opportunity to have inspectors go in and kind of check everything out. And then if there's something kind of wonky that needs repaired, you can ask for the seller to repair those. So when we have these conversations, we talk a lot about items that may get caught at appraisal. So let's talk about a couple of those big ticket items and maybe the difference between what the appraisal requirements look like with your loan type, like maybe just some minor differences there.
So FHA and USDA rural development are one and the same. Rural development is going to be more of a country property. You can't get that kind of loan within the city limits of Casper. I think Mills, you can get in Mills. Of course, it's country. And FHA. So their big concern are health and safety. So, for example, one of the big things is downspout extensions. They want, at the end of the downspout, they want a 2 to 3 foot, 4 foot extension off so the water doesn't come back down into the foundation. Safety would be outlet covers, make sure they're covered. If there's a retaining wall, you might put a little temporary fence to say, there's a danger here. So that's the focus on that. On conventional loans, not as much requirements. If we see something that we feel is a health issue or safety issue, we're going to require it. Sometimes we'll note just in those reports, hey, we have these problems here, but it doesn't affect it safety wise. So that's our main concern there as far as that goes. Health and safety are our main concern with the FHA and USDA loans.
Okay. And then how about where does the VA fit in that as far as similar requirements?
I don't do VA loans, so
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that, but I would believe, health and safety is still a main concern on that too, for sure.
Okay. So one of the things that we talk to our sellers about a lot is that chipped and peeling paint.
Right. Anything built prior to 78 with chip and peeling paint has to be removed, scraped, removed from the premises, and then come back with a coat of either primer. It don't have to be color matched. It's got to be primer so the wood's protected. Anything built after 78, if we see that the wood's exposed and we can see the trim is starting to deteriorate or whatever, we may require it to be painted just to protect the integrity of the house. Same thing with, again, conventional. It's more extreme. If we see that there's a lot of deterioration, we're going to note it, and then the bank's going to decide what they want to do with it.
Gotcha. So, okay, that's a good point. The bank looks at the appraisal and then they decide what needs to be fixed. Okay.
We are their eyes when it comes to the requirements on an FHA or rural development loan. We are their eyes, and so we have manuals that we have to go by what FHA requires. Inspections that a buyer, what they require may not be the same thing that we like. I don't know. They don't like a fixture or something. Things that don't affect it as far as health and safety goes.
Yeah. Light bulbs that we've seen,
if a light bulb
doesn't work.
Right.
If
there's a light bulb burnt out and there's 2 or 3 burnt out, we're going to require electrical inspection because we're not electricians. So we're going to say, get an electrician out there and check to make sure electrical's okay. So.
Perfect. So I guess what would be your number one tip for somebody that is considering selling, looking around, what are like 2 or 3 things that they should look at to repair prior to listing?
Sure. Well, if it's built prior 78, defective paint, negative drainage, make sure that all the way around the house flows away from the house, downspout extensions. If they have a retaining wall, make sure, you see people who build up off the front sidewalk and then do landscaping, make sure they have some sort of barrier that protects people tripping and falling off that. Handrails, if it's an open side, need a handrail. Some higher homes have a deck with railing, but kids can still slip through, so you have to put lattice around there from falling. Make sure all your outlets and switch plates are put on so little ones can't put their fingers in the switch plates, those kind of things. So if they've got a bedroom that's got an ugly color or just needs paint, that's not a requirement. So if they have flooring and some of the tack strip is exposed from the carpet, either remove it or put the carpet back down as far as that goes.
Perfect. Very good tips.
Pretty common sense.
All the things that have been on your punch list that don't get done until you're ready to sell it.
Those are things you want. If you got children, you want to do them anyway. So it doesn't take very long. Most of the items it's not very expensive to do. You can just do them yourself, and they're pretty simple.
Perfect. Well, Marty, I appreciate your time. We're over our 10-minute mark, so I will let you go. No, you're good. You're good. Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome.
I definitely appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And I know you showed me your workload over the next couple of weeks, so I hope you get some rest and some fishing in there somewhere.
Oh, I'll find some time, trust me.
All right. Thank you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, remember, if you have questions that are real estate, remodel, or remotely close, shoot them over and we will answer your questions, maybe even next week. Oh, and special guests next week. They don't know this yet because they were supposed to be on last week, but I was homesick and I couldn't do it. Josh Foy, Mr. Josh Foy, my better half of Foy Real Estate, will be here next week, and his business partner, Michael Tolan. We're going to talk about some remodels. So if you guys are thinking about listing and maybe you should do some work before you list, you're going to want to tune in because we're going to talk about what projects to do and what would give you the most bang for your buck. All right, y'all, have a good week.